Mississippi State team is probably even better than the one you played 2 years ago, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. This is a great Mississippi State team coming in. They got too deep at every position, and this would be a monumental win because they got everything out in front of us, so the sky's the limit.
I watched their game against Kansas State. The thing that impressed me, they got these big guys on the defense. Their defensive line, their linebackers are hard hitters, but really the line. And the line has been something over the last few years when you played as well. They overpowered our offensive line. Can the Kentucky offensive line play them to a draw?
Well, they're going to have to if they want to be in this game. I think time of possession is going to be huge. We got to be able to make first downs, avoid 3-and-outs, because our D-line is going to get tired tackling Nick Fitzgerald, who's 6'5", 240, if we're not keeping them off the field. So
this offensive line's played well. I mean, Bunchy Stallings, of course, had that great block that we talked about. But Drake Jackson has been grading great as a center. The tackles, you were worried when Landon Young got hurt, but those guys have done well. Have you been impressed by the offensive line?
I've been really impressed, and I think they're playing with an extra passion because they got Coach Schlarman, who's fighting off cancer, so they got no excuse not to go out there and give it their all and leave it on the field.
Talk to me about the quarterback play. When we talked to you before the Florida game, or actually before the first game of the season, you said Terry Wilson you thought would play well, but really it all came down to him. Have you been impressed with how he's done so far?
I've been super impressed. He just adds that extra element of dynamic playmaking, and that's huge because the pocket's going to collapse, and I think quarterbacks that can move are huge in college because plays are going to break down, and he's going to have to be able to scramble and make a play.
Do you see this Kentucky team being able to move the ball against Mississippi State?
You know, I do. I think they're an experienced group. You said something about Drake Jackson. You know, he kind of looks undersized, but he gets the job done out there. And you need someone at center who's smart, can make the right protection calls. And so I think they'll be able to move the ball. I think the bigger thing is, can we stop Mississippi State?
All right, well, let's talk about that. Running quarterback's been an issue for Kentucky since when you were in middle school. I mean, we've never played well against them. But I will say they now get to practice against one every day. Kentucky's really never had a real running quarterback. Do you think that will help going into a game like this?
I think just having more depth on the D-line is going to help. And then, you know, we got the experienced secondary, so we're going to leave them out on an island and put 7, 8 in the box and try to shut this run down.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, this is, in my opinion, a huge game for the secondary because you cannot stop a running quarterback unless you play man coverage. It's very difficult not to give big chunks. Are Beatty, Westry, Johnson, are they good enough, and can they stop big plays in the passing game?
I think they can, and Lonnie Johnson, he's come on huge. He's, you know, JUCO guy, and he's really stepped up to his role. You know, you're going to have to eliminate the deep ball, and going back to that, we got to hit the deep ball to open some stuff up for us because explosive plays, you know, they determine games.
Let me ask you about kicking. Okay, so Miles Butler replaced you, and there was an instance in the Central Michigan game and in the Florida game where there was probably a 48-yard kick that if they took it and made it, they would win the game. It'd be over. And both times they chose not to take it and punt, which says that they didn't really think probably he could make a 48-yarder. Can you win with a kicker who can't make 48 yards, or do you think Miles Butler could make it if they give him a shot?
I think both, honestly. I'm not opposed to us going for it on 4th down. We're in that territory. But I think Miles, he's making them at practice from 48. And, you know, it's a little bit of a stretch when you get some pressure, people rushing you. So I think 45 and in is his comfort zone. And
that's the number, 45?
I think 45 to feel comfortable, but don't be surprised if he goes out there and hits a 48 because, you know, he spent 4 years behind me, so I put him through the ringer. So I think he'll step up to the challenge.
Special teams love to the punter. Max Duffy.
Yes.
What do you think about him? I mean, he's been a big asset this year.
The Aussie's huge. I mean, he's 25 out there, so I mean, I expect it out of him. Yeah, he better be good. No, I love us bringing over Aussies because they're experienced and they just have composure back there, and they got different punts. Coach Stoops always talks about that, where he can hang on to the ball a little longer to let our coverage team get down the field, so it eliminates the returns.
All right, let's talk about the crowd. It was an amazing atmosphere 2 years ago. How big a deal is it for the team when you get a crowd like you had 2 years ago in this game?
It's massive. I mean, home field advantage is a real thing. I think it plays into the refs. If we're real pro-Kentucky and just out there, I think we can make them false start. We can make them jump, and just it gets the players fired up. And every other SEC team's got it, so there's no reason that we shouldn't have a great home field advantage.
All right, give me your prediction. What happens tomorrow night?
you know, I think the Cats get the win.
Yes!
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a close game, somewhere around maybe 27-21.
27-21. I like this. I like this optimism. Well, Austin, you killed it with the prediction last time. We'll find out if you're right.